Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining me on time this time because I've got it all mastered, so I know what I'm doing. Ooh, it's a little bit windy. I apologize. Zoltag. Oh, hey Johnson, how's it going, buddy? Zoltag. Anyways, I'll be here every Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific, drawing cartoons, and wondering why cats are jerks and all those kinds of great things. So I have 1 second here. Of course, I got to do two in a row and ruin two, so I apologize for the feedback there, everybody. But anyways, got a good drawing today. It's one of the drawings well, it's a photo of a drawing because I can't actually show the real drawing that my guy got me from the inside. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's Sideshow episode of Cryptid Cartoons is brought to you by Sideshow Zombunnies. Hideous, deplorable, adorable. Adopt one for yourself today. They make a great Father's Day gift. Check out Sideshow Zombunnies on Instagram and get yours today. Hello, Roger. Hello, Bob. Hello, Operation Shutdown. Hillbilly Herb. K-Van. The cats are clawing my feet. It's really annoying. Bloody hells. Okay. We'll try for the third week. Third time's a charm. We'll not have any feedback or I'll show up on time. So it'll happen, I promise. All right. So as usual, I always start with the backgrounds on these guys. And the secret is to just slop it onto the paper. I was also supposed to mention that I have to talk about my drawing journey of some sort today because I believe it was Jennifer that was wondering about it. So I guess I should talk about that before I forget about it because, in about 10 seconds, I'll probably be talking about pizza or something like that. So we'll just, I guess I basically started drawing when I was a kid. It's one of the things I used to do because I liked cartoons. I didn't have any brothers or sisters, so I just drew a lot of cartoons, created my own characters and friends and everything like that. And I just grew up doing that. I would always go and draw like cartoons and stuff, Bugs Bunny and everything that I had seen. And as I got older, I read a lot of Cracked and Mad Magazine, things like that. So I kind of got a little bit of hilarity from there. Also, I read a lot of The Duplex, Far Side, things like that. Those type of Saturday, Sunday afternoon cartoons and the cursed gremlin. Anyway, I just read a lot of cartoons and stuff like that. Ren and Stimpy, Simpsons, the usual stuff. But also some of my favorite artists. Definitely my favorite artist of all time is Milo Manara. I got a ton of his paintings all over he does watercolor as well. I got a ton of his paintings all over my studio here. It's one of the biggest influences. I've always just liked his style. It originally started when I started reading Heavy Metal magazine because I read comics and everything, and I read the usual superhero stuff, but I just kind of got bored of it. And then I found, I read DC and Marvel, and then I found Dark Horse Comics, and they had one comic in particular was called Grendel. And these comics were these were more for adults type things. And when I'm like 10 years old buying this stuff, and the guy's card store is still open here in Edmonton, which is cool. But anyway, we used to go there buy Dark Horse Comics, and then he had this heavy metal comic the one time, and I thought it was just the weirdest looking thing. It was like a big, thick. It was like the size of a bigger book, and it had blood and swearing and boobies, and you're like 15 years old. What else you need in a comic? You basically sold on the blood and boobies. And then as I read through it, some of the stories were actually really neat, and that's kind of how I got into reading Milo Manara because he had Gulliver's Travels and all this stuff. And anyway, I can't really ruin a cursed headlamp there. Anyway, before I get off rambling away too much, so I read a whole bunch of heavy metal, got into Milo Manara, and originally I thought it was just all cool with all the violence and whatnot. And my one friend explained to me that painting and drawing like the female body is a lot more difficult than drawing the male form. Ow! I swear. Does anybody want a gremlin or a gargoyle, perhaps? Two cats at once? Anyways, they're clawing me. So I didn't really think much of it until I got into art. I read more about art and all that stuff, and still never really got into it until I actually went to animation school and had to do life drawing. And it was totally different than any other drawing. Like, sure, you could look at a book or draw someone, or like, those stupid little statues or whatever. You could draw using those, but once you do life drawing and there's actually some naked person standing there, and you're actually looking at you do all the pre stuff before you get there. They teach you about like form and function and line and weight and all this stuff. And anyways, it was a lot different than just drawing like guys all the time. And they had like everybody, like tall people, short people, whatever. It was interesting. And then at that moment I was like, oh geez, my buddy Rafi from junior high school was completely right. And then I just had a more appreciation for just drawing characters. Like, it's hard to explain. It's the form and the shape and everything and the weight of stuff. I'm going off on a tangent here. I apologize, but yeah, that's just how it is. It's so anyway. So that was part of it, and then I always liked animation, so that's how I kind of got into that, Milo Manaro, all that stuff, whatever. And then I got into animation. Like I said, I went to animation school. It was actually one of the coolest times of my life. I got to hang out with my cousin pretty much every day. If you're still listening, Johnson, I love you, buddy. And I was gracious enough to have people that helped me move out to Vancouver, and I went to the one art school there and met a lot of cool people, did a lot of cool things, and had a really good time. It was a special time in my life. The biggest thing I miss about Vancouver, buy the slice pizza places everywhere. I was in heaven there. It's like walk down the street, there's like 4 different buy the slice pizza things. I'm just going to go move back to Vancouver and just be a homeless guy and eat slices of pizza for the rest of my life. Just become a big, fatty, pizza-eating homeless guy. Anyway, hey, there's a cartoon for somebody to draw. But it was interesting. Just a lot of the teachers there were really helpful. One of my favorite teachers, still a friend to my day, Miles Harrington. If you're listening, Miles, probably not. But if you are, you're awesome, buddy. And how's Mega City going? Anyways, Miles was a great teacher. And had some not so great teachers, but who cares about those guys? Miles was good because he always made sure everybody was on the same page before we continued on with anything. He'd go out of his way, and everyone just knew that, and that's just the type of guy he was. So that's how more people that reveal secrets and teach should do their craft. But I actually can't really say anything about that because I'm not a teacher or anything. So I have no horse in this race. Anyways, I hope everybody else's Saturday is doing really good. I haven't actually looked up at the chat here for a second. Let me see if there's been any important questions. I need like a sidekick here to like read me the chat or something. I have to buy myself one of those robots. Well, I don't know. Oh, yes. Crap. Let's see here. Scrolling. It's raining on Dave and Tim today. It probably is. Dave out in the woods looking for Sasquatch and ghosts and little forest gnomes. Okay. Well, I scrolled up as much as I can. Manners and rules, Jules. I don't know about that. Hello, race fan. Actually, to be fair, Jules, I'm one of the people that still take my hat off when I go into like a restaurant or something. Because I feel like my grandma's ghost would come from the grave and slap me if I didn't. And she had that big old ring that she had. Everything was heavy. It was all sharp and spiky. She probably fought werewolves with it at one point in time. Yes. And what else can I say about my art? Some of my big influences besides Milo Manara, probably John Kirsch-Falushi, Ralph Bakshi, Ralph Steadman. Ralph Bakshi is one of the best guys. He did a really good version of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit in an animated form. There's a artist, I think it was Robert Crumb, that made Fritz the Cat. I could be wrong. Anyways, so Ralph Bakshi made a Fritz the Cat animated movie back in the 70s or something. And the guy hated the character so much, he killed him off in canon in his comics and everything. It was kind of funny. It's like that mystery Banksy guy or whatever that sold that drawing, and then someone bought it for $1 bazillion, and then it automatically turned into a paper shredder and shredded it. What a genius, man. Troll levels just through the roof. Yes, American Pop. American Pop is great. But Ralph Bakshi, I think my favorite Ralph Bakshi film, besides Wizards, because that's just one of my top films ever, but my favorite Ralph Bakshi film probably would have to be Fire and Ice, because it's just it's such a cheap, lazy story idea, but it works perfectly. It's just like evil prince that commands ice attacks neighboring kingdom. Some guys show up, and they just threw the Death Dealer in there. It's like, you couldn't get anything better than that. You don't need anything better than that. They got to make all these movies now, and here's my old man rant I'm getting into. They make these movies these days, and they just got no soul in life. I watched one yesterday. It's a fairly popular superhero movie, and it was just the worst thing I ever seen. I didn't watch the whole thing. My friends and I were just sitting in Discord talking about UFOs and junk. But anyways, it was like one of the most boring movies ever. It was so predictable, and everybody's got Matrix abilities. I get they're superheroes, but I mean, is that not tired out yet? Can we have some mortals for a change? Which is, now speaking of not overpowered characters, now I'm rambling away here, so you guys will have to listen. But especially in books and media and everything, they always have to have characters that are super overpowered, like the infamous Dark Elf guy. He's just so overpowered now. He's like a level 9 million monk and 7,000 ranger, and I don't even know anymore. But anyways, in the Forgotten Realms world, there's a series of books by Paul S. Kemp, and it's the Erebus Kale books, and they're one of the best fantasy books in the universe, series itself, and characters and everything, because all the main characters are human. They're human. Like, hold on, rambling away. I gotta have a swig of my delicious ginger tea here. I make ginger tea, and then I put ginger into the ginger tea as well for overdose of ginger. You know what? Might have to just leave and go beat up the cats for a couple minutes here. But no, I'm just kidding. But anyways, it's not important. I'm rambling too much here about unimportant things. About these drawings, yes. So these sorry, Jennifer. I might as well continue. Hello, Sir Bothwell. I hope that drawing is sitting there and staring at you. I hope, you know what? You should make sure you take a nice soft cloth, that thing, and hey, thanks, Wes Decker. We'll go buy $10 worth of cat snacks now. And then Mrs. Fylth is gonna be like, "What do you do with $10 worth of cat snacks?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I have to go yell at Wes Decker," and she'll be like, "I don't even know who that is." And actually, probably just shake her head at me and walk away. So, anyways, but more art stories here for Jennifer here, because I kind of feel like she asked a nice question at the beginning, and I could talk about it forever. But let me just this paint here is crusting up on me. There we go. Anyways, more interesting art stories. Ralph Bakshi's good. Also, I don't know who the artists were that did the Rugrats, but definitely the Rugrats. As we can see that because my gnome is unintentionally turned into looking like one of the Rugrat characters. Some people pointed that out the other day on when I did the gnome. But the gnome's a big trickster. Whoa, her tropical earthquake coming through here. But the gnome's a big trickster because he will not only will he poke you with a sharp object, he will steal your keys. But anyways, other artists that I really enjoy as artists of that, Don Bluth, that guy, man, that's something special about Don Bluth. There's not many guys that have that style of art. I've always kind of just enjoyed that like slight, had like the Plague Dogs, the American Tales, and then Five Goes West. That last bit of like real animation where there was you could tell it was hand drawn easily, and it wasn't hand drawn and then digitized. It was hand drawn, and it was they could put their souls and guts into it. I can talk a little bit about it because I went to animation school and I quit like a quitter, but I had to because it just wasn't for me. And I've only quit 2 things in my life, and I'm proud of both of them. So, anyways, the old style animation was some of the best stuff because it had all the 12 principles of animation, and just you could just tell it had soul. And, maybe it's just me, whatever. I'm not up with the popular stuff. So, but I just think that old art and everything like that, it has that soul. You can tell people put their time and care. Of course, everybody's put their time into the stuff, but it was just, you can tell there was something special about it. And even the old Ralph Bakshi things and early, even the early Japanese animation and stuff. But the Japanese animations, I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say this, but it's like limited. I don't know how to explain it better than that. There's less. It seems like there's less frames, so to speak. Someone's just going to come in here and like tell me why I'm wrong, but whatever, good on you. But the point is, with the old style animation, it was so tight, so crisp, so smooth, and that's why I like it. And I guess it must be terrible that somebody enjoys things. So I shouldn't really. That's why I don't really like to bash on all types of other art and stuff, really, except for AI stuff, because you're not really a artist if you're doing AI art, because you're just telling the computer what to do. I guess if you think about it, my soul is telling my meat machine what to do. So I guess I'm entirely wrong. I rescind my previous comments. All right, let's get some more color in the back of these trees here in the back in McMinnville, Oregon. And let's see here. Let's close out the old art ramble here with some of my favorite bits of art that have come out recently. Actually, was the Mario Brothers movie. It's pretty cool for an animated show. But I just still kind of just stick to all my old favorites because I'm boring like that. And I just like the things that I like. And if I see new stuff that I enjoy, then I will definitely take some time to enjoy it. But as it stands, that's my stuff. And I guess I should mention why I like watercolors. I like watercolors not only because of Milo Manara, but because you can make a little bit of a mistake, and then you have time to go back to it and switch it. It's not as much time as if you're doing an oil painting where you basically have like 1,000 years to go back and fix your drawing up. Like, you could live 3 reincarnations and still go back and fix your oil painting drawing or painting if you've made a mistake on it. Nobody will know. I mean, maybe Leonardo da Vinci's been like sneaking back from the grave multiple lifetimes and everything. Hello, Matthew Goodka. Oh, and Kitty Caddywhack. Hi, I think I missed you earlier. Magneticus Attracticus. 7 frames per second easier to draw than 29 frames per second. Yeah. I'm looking at my old animation book right now, but we don't got time to just stop in the middle. See, this is what happens normally if I'm by myself. I'll start looking at my books. I'm like, ooh, a book. And then my like 3 goldfish brain cells decide to sit there and read through an entire animation book. And then I come back, oh, geez, I forgot to do my drawing. So I secretly I've chained myself to the chair so it doesn't actually happen. That was one of the stipulations Dave gave me. He's like, Filthy, we can't have you getting up and wandering away to fight your cats or go for ice cream or anything like that. So you have to chain yourself to the chair. So I'm shackled to the chair at my ankles, and the chair is bolted to the floor. Yeah. You can't see it, but I'm blinking SOS. Somebody save me. Thanks everybody again for sitting around here listening to me ramble while I draw my cartoons here. This is the McMinnville UFO from 1950 in Oregon. People always say it was held up by the UFO, the picture itself, the picture that the public gets to see. This is what the actual picture looks like, because I got a guy on the inside at the CIA, and he lets me look at this stuff. I go to his house and we eat bubble gum and read comic books, and then he shows me all these cool UFO pictures that are 100% legit at my 100% legitimate CIA buddy's house. And yeah, so excuse me, I have to get some more of that tea into me here. My throat's drying up because it just won't blah 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 the whole time here. Next thing you know, it's going to be 3 hours later, but smash it, y'all. Yes, hit that like button with a steel chair, a stone cold stunner, a choke slam through a flaming table. Mr. Bishop, I don't know. I don't like flying. If he could just give me a portal to go to Hickmanville, that would be okay. Because I'd be good with a portal. I just don't like flying. I don't like my feet off the ground. I live in the flatland. I'm an Albertan, so like the closest I get to flying would be like falling out of a tree. Which isn't true. I've flown before, but I just don't like it. It hurts my guts. And I get all wigged out. I get all sweaty, and I'm just sweating. And when they get up, they come there with like a mop and bucket. And they got to clean it up, and there's a thick layer of sludge on the chair, and it's just. Ugh. Actually, the last couple times I flew, they were like, "Oh, this guy again." So they put a tarp down for me. Like, that guy's really filthy dirty. So just make sure you put a tarp down for that dude. You know what, Johnson? If you're still listening, that was the coolest thing. I was not expecting you to show up and be in the chat. That's awesome. We got to go for dim sum, buddy. I owe you. Just put it onto the IOU Bank of Johnson. Private jet. You know what? If you can get Jim Goodall to get an SR-71 and fly it over to Edmonton, then I'll take a flight with Jim, because then we're actually just going to go fly a UFO. Everyone will be like, "Where's Jim and Filthy?" Well, they actually stole the UFO and now they're flying around. Great. Unbelievable. Just got to put a little bit of color here. So I try to make these pictures look as old as possible, because I'm trying to recreate what the actual photo looks like. So it's difficult to get that ye oldie time color and everything in there. Like, I'm looking at the photo, it's like right there, but I can't show you guys because, yeah, but it's very important to get everything as accurate as possible. Me personally, I think all the old UFO videos, well, not so much videos, the photos and everything, I think a lot of them are, they could be faked, but I mean, it's just weird how all those UFOs at the time all look the same. And then everybody now, they're saying that the UFOs just change and look the way that they need to for that time. And they're apparently self-built. I mean, that's what Grant was talking about I think it was last week. Yeah, last week. Not this week, but last week. He was talking about how UFOs are built to spec just for certain missions. And then they go back to whatever base, Catalina Island, and then do their UFO repair stuff. You know what, Mike? I seen oh, bloody hells, what the hell is he? Anyways, I can't remember. Nonetheless, looks like a Marilyn Manson cross. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to him for a while. When I was a kid, I watched. See, the thing was, I got into Marilyn Manson around the time I started listening to all this like heavy metal stuff and electronic music and everything, and I didn't have a lot of time to check out like all this other music, because back in the 90s and 80s and 2000s, there wasn't really a lot of internet you could just saunter to and type in a band, and then YouTube would algorithmically, if that's even a word, find bands similar to that. You had to open up the CDs, you had to go look in the liner notes, and that's why, I'm going to rant about CDs for an hour. That's why music was so much better then, because you had a CD case, you open it up, you go to the back, all the bands are like, "Thanks my mom, my dad," and then all the edgy guys are like, "Oh yeah," and like Mr. Green, like nobody knows who you're talking about, Spanky, like just say your PR guy. Anyway, but they always had like, thanks to these bands, a lot of these metal bands did, That's why metal kicks ass, because they always promote everybody. And, you know, it's not like the metal guys are going out beating each other up. I guess there's been, yeah. But we're not going to count the Norwegian black metal guys. Those are in a league of their own. But that's why metal was cool, because they always thanked all these bands. They tried to tour with as many similar bands. I remember there was a Coal Chamber, Dope, and Slipknot were on tour at one point in time. I mean, some people probably like, I probably heard of Slipknot, but I don't know. Most of the other bands probably not. But it was such a cool thing at the time, because then you heard about those bands and you read the notes in those CDs for other bands, and your friends would tell you about them, and it was nice. Yeah, I still got a VHS/DVD player. I still have some old DVDs and junk. Well, technically they're the misses, but ooh yeah, Terminal Choice. Yeah, holy crap! I haven't listened to. That's an old name. I gotta write that sucker down. I think I just aged 10 years by hearing that. You know what, Christine? I don't like Nickelback. And the reason I don't like Nickelback is because when I was growing up, just like Nirvana and AC/DC, sorry, those three bands, I just can't do it. But anyways, they're like, everybody knew was like, you got to listen to Nickelback. You got to listen to Nirvana. You got to listen to AC/DC. I'm like, no. And they just crammed it in my face all the time. So I was like, no, not doing it. And that's why I don't like them. I didn't like them while they were super popular and original. And you know what? Too bad if they're Albertan. 2 of the 3 members of Skinny Puppy were from Alberta too. So that makes up for no matter what. So. But yeah, 2 of the original 3 members of Skinny Puppy are from Alberta. So, and actually, Skinny Puppy did it their last tour. They stopped in Edmonton, and we were honored and privileged for them to play the song Candle, which is a tribute to one of their band members. And it was really cool because they brought in his sister and his mom or whatever and everything. And it was really cool. And, you know, like last show in Edmonton as the band. It was cool because Ogre was wearing a really neat alien helmet. It was like a full like gray alien helmet. It was so cool looking. And the eyes would like glow a little bit. And it was attached to his mouth. I'm like moving my hands around my mouth like you can see, but it was cool because it was attached to his face, and when he was singing, it looked like he was actually speaking. And at first, it kind of threw me off because I know Ogre wears a lot of prosthetics and stuff, and he was the first guy to walk around with painting stilts on. Like Marilyn Manson copied a lot of people. Circling back to the Marilyn Manson thing, he copied a lot of people. But you know what? Nothing's original, anyways. What did I just do for 20 minutes? But praise all these artists and talk about their movies, only to take their inspiration and use that into mine. So nothing's original. Yeah, whatever, he stole it. But, you know, how many bands were like war paint and stuff? Dorks like me go out to a show and wear war paint because I listen to like 3 black metal bands. I'm like, well, gotta do it now. But yeah, Skinny Puppy was probably my last show that I seen that I really enjoyed. Those guys are awesome. Kevin, the keyboard wizard guy, they've had some pretty interesting experiences and junk. I gave him a letter and an invitation to come on the show and talk about their like weird paranormal stuff on tour, and I guess Kevin has weird stuff that happens in his house once in a while. But maybe one day I'll somehow get him on the show, which would be cool. Just like Dave said, if I could ever get like Chris Jericho or The Undertaker on the show, he'd totally give me a pass for booking that and just talk about wrestling. And I think that'd be cool. It'd be so cool to have The Undertaker on the show. If anybody knows The Undertaker, tell him to phone me. I will give him a drawing in return for him coming on the show. I think that's worth his time. Yes, Jules, like painting stilts for the ceilings. Actually, you know what? Excuse me, Sir Bothwell, V&V Nation actually put out a new album, and it's, you know, I never used to be a big fan, but the last like 3-4 albums that Ronan has done, just absolutely brilliant. 1 second here. I think I'm just going to bring up a tea kettle with all my stuff the next time I do this. You know what? That would be hilarious. Some guy just, okay, let's be specific here. We'll get, if we're going to get The Undertaker, we'll get Mr. Calloway in here to come to the show. Eh? Look at that. Look at that zombie. Here's the coolest part about it. Oops, cat fuzz. Didn't see that coming or anything. Look at that. Got the dead man symbol on there. By the way, K-Van, a.k.a. Fox Vegas, the one that does all my plushies and everything, we have a combined ultimate force of doom. It's like Madness and a Mania, or like Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, basically. But she does all the plushies. So go to Instagram, plug in Sideshow Zombunnies, and if you want anything that's on there, just tell her, get a hold of her. She'll probably give you a good deal. Maybe she's kind of rowdy with negotiations, and she's probably got a knife too, so be careful. But they're really cool. I actually bought two. I originally bought one for Mrs. Fylth, and she's like, "Wow, this is neat." Well, I bought it, and then it actually was hers because it was the 13th one, and also the name was Bones, and that's anyway. So I didn't get that one, so I had to get another one. Hello, Mister. What are you doing? Are you being a crybaby? Huh? Yeah, Gargoyle's whining. Look at him. I'm not going to grab him. I'll just let him come of his own will. Hello, mister. You coming? Yep. He's got some crud on him. There you go, mister. All right. Got to rearrange myself here. All right. There you go. But you can't sleep right there. You can sit like that. There we go. Yep. Mr. Gargoyle. Hello, my little shadow. I don't know how you got this sticky crap on you, but he does. But how'd that get on there? Look at that. Some kind of chunk of cat. I don't even know where he gets this stuff. He's out of control. Now it's stuck to me like a booger. Terrible. All right. Back to the drawing here. And then he leaves, right? He just came over, got cleaned, and left. Figures. Thanks, human. He just gets to live in this nice house, and he's got 1,000 toys, and he gets snacks multiple times of the day. Unbelievable. All right. Back to the drawing here. Sorry. I work in a warehouse, and it gets terribly dusty. And oh, also, one other thing, too. When I was talking about Cracked and Mad magazine, the Mad Look at Blank was always one of my favorite things. And I'm going to butcher this guy's last name. Sergio Aragones. There's like, yeah, I'm terribly butchering it. I apologize, everybody. But he was one of my favorite guys, too, because he just did the little doodles in between. I can't actually, you know what? I'm chained to the chair, so I can't actually go and get the book to show you guys. Thanks, Dave. Oh, Jennifer, the Instagram is Sideshow Zombunnies. Let me, I can type it in here too, actually. I got smart and I put my other computer on. That's why there was horrible feedback earlier. There we go. Without the X, of course, because I'm having difficulties with cats and everything. But yeah, Sideshow Zombunnies on Instagram. And she got a whole bunch up there. She made some pretty cool Edmonton Oilers ones for the playoffs. I believe it was last year. But yeah. Her and I are going to the White Avenue Art Walk in Edmonton, July 11th to 13th. And we've probably got a whole bunch of plushies that are going to show up there. And if any of them happen to return home, we might need homes for them. I don't think she's available for work right now because I gave her this gigantic list of like 10,000 different plushies to make. I was like, I need these by July 1st, please. Thanks. She's like, oh, gee, I don't think she slept in about like 4 weeks at this point in time. Yes. Bunnies, like the bunnies. Yes. My favorite is the Stuart Skinner one. He's got the power stash and everything. All right, mister. I just got to add a little bit more to the trees. Yeah, I talk to the cats when I'm drawing cartoons because they're the only. Ow! bonk my head into the damn thing again. They're the only ones that listen to me. And they get rambling about cartoons and aliens. And I wonder if we need to get a thing where you guys can sit here and talk as well, or I need to get. Yeah, I need an assistant to sit here and be like, hey, Filthy, this person says, draw faster or something. I don't know. This person's asking what kind of pizza you like. Blah blah blah. Alrighty. Oh yeah. After this, I'm going for some super hot death wings. Well, Sir Bothwell, just shoot me email or text, or I can't remember how we originally contacted. Smoke signal, whatever. We can. We'll figure something out, man. I can do something weird for you. But it's probably gonna have to be after the summer though, because I really do have a whole bunch of crap on my plate right now. I've already put off my short comic that I'm doing, but that's okay because all the plushies are being made. And those are way cooler than a short comic. You know what, Sir Bishop, a good cheese pizza is always nice. But if I could have any pizza that the pizza gods come down from the pizza heavens and give me a pizza, I'm gonna pet the gargoyle right on his belly. Oh, and I survived. I would just have a regular crust pizza with just maybe a little extra sauce, jalapeno, feta cheese, and pineapple. No, I liked pineapple before it was cool to hate it because you were just told to. But the reason being, it's the triforce of flavors. It's a little bit spicy, a little bit burny, and a little bit sweet. Or salty, rather. Sweet, salty, and burny. Good God. I'm already a salty enough guy, but can always have room for more salt. Yeah, and feta cheese is my favorite type of cheese. Time to go fishing, Filthy. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, Johnson, I love you, buddy. Have some of those delicious Peachland peaches for me. Tell Ken I say hi. That guy's my cousin. He's a cool guy. Team Zoltag. Yeah. Anyways, rambling away here. Back to the drawing. We're almost on to the inking phase of this. No olives. I like olives. I like olives all the time. Well, Magneticus, if you like Caesar salad, you automatically have to like not sardines, anchovies, because that's what's in Caesar salad dressing. Squish up little tiny fish, put them into the dressing. There's a place by my house, they sell olives, and they sell something, I swear it's like some grandma place, or some grandma makes them, but they're green, like mammoth green olives are big bastards, and they're stuffed with chunks of garlic. Hello, Doc from Wyoming. You know, I was actually thinking about you the other day. I was like, I haven't seen anything from Doc. Is he still out there like fighting coyotes and wolves in the, I don't know, I think you're in like Minnesota or Montana and Badlands or something, wherever you are in the universe. And so I always to see your pictures of you fixing up your cool looking Jeep there and everything. And I haven't seen anything for a while. So I was thinking about you the other day, Doc from Wyoming. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, rambling away here. But also, aside from that, I like pretty much like any pizza. A plain pepperoni is boring. A plain cheese is way better. But also, there's a place by my house, Roadrunner Pizza in Donair. Excellent. It's like this little old Chinese lady and her husband own it. And when you get like a ground beef and onion, it's like the actual ground beef. They chop it up. None of this ground beef crumble. They get like two little cruddly pieces on there. No, and they never skimp too. And every time you phone there, and it's like, I talk to them, whatever. And I get one can of ginger ale, please. She's like, okay, yeah, no, one can, no problem. I'm like, okay. Always, every time, show up. We got more whining going on? Probably. Anyways, they always, hello, World Bigfoot Central. super Duke. But yeah, they always show up. They always bring extra, and it's always cool. I pay cash too, right? Because cash is king, everybody. You should have a mountain of cash stashed at your house with all types of traps around it too. Like, you know, and then actually you have two sets of stashes. One stash is where you actually put your stuff, and the other stash, that's a mimic. And when someone goes to open it up, it turns into a monster and it bites their hand off and it's severed. There's blood spraying everywhere. And that's what happens when you didn't roll a very good enough perception check there, like my players on a couple weekends ago. The rogue tried to open the door. Guess what? The door is a mimic. It bit the rogue. How's that working for you, rogue? Tijin proceeded to beat the ever-loving crap out of the door. So it was funny for me for about 5 seconds. And then, anyways, love dice rolling. Okay, Jules, I don't know. I'll probably be here for another 6 hours or whatever. Actually, I drew a cartoon of, we had two hosts that were on Spaced Out Radio previously. Mayhem's going on, so I apologize. I can't do anything about the sirens. Anyways, it was Gemma Jade and Big Willie. And I drew a cartoon that was called Gemma Jade's Surprise Box. And it was Big Willie opening a box, or it was the New Jersey Surprise Box. And he opened a box and there was a spring-loaded knife that came out. It was hilarious. I wanted to give each of them a copy, but I've never actually got their addresses. So if either of them ever listen to this, just know that I have that drawing I still want to give to you. It's taking up space in my house is the problem. All right, that's why I have a 10-foot pole. Yeah, traps and mimics. Also, 10-foot pole is great if you need to fall a certain amount of distance because you can slide down the pole if your players are smart enough to think about that. But all my players are, not all of them, but at least 3 of the 4 of them are just like charge into battle. It's like we can hit it with an axe. Yeah, okay, buddy. But yeah, 10-foot pole is very useful. Hi, Hillbilly. Hi, Mel WD40. I think I'm going to say hi to you. All right. I just got to do a little bit more on these background trees there. Just a little bit, though. A Bob Ross little bit. And then I got to do the edges here. And then it's on to the very important part. My favorite part. The inking part. Because that's the best. And it looks like a blob of nothing. You know what? After all the years of drawing my cartoons, it's always the same thing for me when I'm doing this. I would just look at it and go, good God, it's like, it just looks terrible. I'm not happy with it. And then once I start putting the ink down, then I'm happy with it. I don't know. I just don't like the incomplete feel to it. And I know I do all these drawings all the time and everything, but it just bugs me. Yeah, there we go. All right. My cats are pretty big fraidy cats. All right. 1 second here. Sorry, when you inhale water, inhaling water is not a good idea if you're a land-living, air-breathing mammal of some sort. Yeah, I think it's about to go. Oh, the sun's coming around. I'm getting all sweaty. And my drawing pants are sweating, and I'm sweating, and my armpits are sweaty. And oh boy, no breeze or nothing. All right, everybody, this is my favorite part, the inking part. Oh, we got some. The worst part about this all is I got some letters I have to write in. If I was ever super rich, I'd totally just hire someone to do all the lettering for me. That's the most logical thing to do. Oh, yeah, a little bit of a breeze. Happy little alien, yeah. Well, the cats are relatively happy. Except they want to go outside. They're not allowed to go outside right now because neighbors are crybabies. So anyways, we will... This is pretty much what the photograph looks like. It's a Polaroid, or an instant camera. Because it's Polaroid is a brand, so... Can't call it that. Besides, the CIA have their own special instant cameras that they use. Oh yeah, nice breeze, right through, flowing through my chest hair. Wilderness adventure currently characters are ranger, druid, barbarian, and a Sasquatch. Nice. Oh, that's pretty cool. Actually, in our Mrs. Filth and I, Duke, we get our homebrew world that we do, and it's pretty low magic, fairly low magic. There's a little bit, not much. It's relatively rare, but I totally put all the cryptids in there in the world, and they encountered Sasquatch the one time, like knocking on trees and everything, and it was pretty neat the way I ran the whole adventure. But it was kind of cool afterwards. The players, they asked me, like, "Hey, Filthy, was that like a Bigfoot in the forest?" I'm like, you guys pretty much figured it out. I changed the name and made it a little less obvious at the time, but they were happy with it. They knew what to expect. They've been my friends forever. We've been playing with the same group of dorks for 15 years or so now. All it took was one of my pal Watson. I was like, "Hey, want to run D&D one night?" "I don't even know what that is." "Well, I can explain it to you in about 5 minutes." Then I did, and he had an orc that broke out of a jail and beat up some goblins, and all I had to do was appeal to his violent side for about 3 hours, and he's like, "Wow, this is the coolest thing." Next thing you know, we ran one campaign for like 6 years, and then we just been doing one ever since, about every year. So, oops, hold on a second. Bishop, I enjoy people watching this. If I can get a chuckle out of everyone for the cartoons or just me rambling away, then that's good. That's all I really care about. Yes, Christine, it flows. Sometimes I use the Mrs. conditioner so I get great body, and then I stand in front of the fan and it blows, and it's like Austin Powers basically. All right. Ugh. Give me a second here while I write these letters in here. Everything else just works off pure muscle memory, and this stuff is, no matter how much I try, I need all brain concentration. Oregon. You've died of dysentery. USA 1950. Everybody had nice pants back in those days. Chuckle achievement unlocked. Almost out of my tea here, boys. Boils and ghouls. Terry's place. I don't know. I'll have to phone him. We're like, "Terry, is that your backyard?" He'd be like, "Yep." He's probably out chasing his dogs. 78 dogs that he owns. I don't think anybody owns more dogs than that guy. As a matter of fact, it's probably just a dog man that lives on his property. I always say that whenever I don't play a lot of video games. Whenever I'm playing a game and I got to go for a whiz or something or smoke, I was like, "Oh, gotta let the dog out for a pee." Then I come back and I go, "Geez, the dog's been barking at the Sasquatch again." I actually had a guy a couple weeks ago ask me if is there really a Sasquatch in your backyard? And then we ended up sitting there talking about cryptids and junk in the game chat for a while. It was kind of funny. Alrighty. I don't know what this thing was. I think with the original picture, it looked like a greenhouse or something on the side of the house there. But I didn't. I think it just looked like sort of like like a drum or something. My grandpa had weird stuff like this on the side of his shed. So, anyway. Ooh, excuse me. And ginger's bubbling up in your guts. Ginger's great stuff. Ginger beef, ginger ale, ginger beer. Just chew on a rock of ginger and ginger candies, ginger snacks, ginger snaps. Holy. Ooh, speaking of ginger snaps, there's a good film about werewolves. Also a Canadian film. Everybody's all proud to be Canadian all of a sudden out of nowhere after years of hating Canada. Everyone's like, I love Canada now. But yeah, ginger snaps. The first one is great. The second one is not so great. And the third one's pretty good too. But it's about two sisters that have a pact to die before 16 or something. I haven't watched it for a long time. But anyway, it's a general thing of it. Anyways, the one girl gets bit by a werewolf. And it's super simple. Gets bit by a werewolf, problems ensue. There's no extra junk built into it. And everybody's happy. Ending's great. Second movie was kind of boring. Third one was really cool because it was set in the past. They used the main characters from the first one to, like, they were their ancestors, so to speak. Really good. Definitely. Ginger Snaps is worth a watch if you're looking for a relatively decent werewolf film. And if you'd like a really good vampire film, Let the Right One In. That's a good film. It's Swedish, I believe. You have to watch it with the actual Swedish language. You can't dub it into English. It's terrible. I watched it in both ways, and yeah, some movies that are foreign languages, you just gotta bite the bullet and read the subtitles. Yeah, really good film. Also, the original What We Do in the Shadows, the movie. There apparently is a TV show. I don't have enough time to watch TV. I don't care enough. But the film was really good. I always wonder who's driving this UFO. It's not Carl, because he's already stolen Fabrice's UFO. What a jerk. Let's make it a little bit more dirty here, shall we? There we go. A little more dirt. The little lines mean dirt. Let's see here. Ooh, gingerbread. Yeah, I love gingerbread. Ginger's just good. Yes, Mr. Bishop. That's one of my favorite. Just read the braille on the television screen. Nice. That's gruesome. And the TV becomes a mimic and bites his arm off. I really feel like doing that to my players. Delicious tea. Just totally traumatize them for life. Make them question everything as a mimic. Actually, surprisingly enough, the newer Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out was actually pretty good. Even if you don't even like role-playing games or anything, it's good enough. Just switch this over here for a second. There you go. Habit. All right, let me put that down on the old marquee page too. Oops, sorry, I bonked that thing. Richard Friesen. Look at that. Make use of that old. All right, let's see here. Anybody else? Bite the Bullet by Neil Young, also Canadian. My favorite Neil Young song is Like a Hurricane. And the best version of it, you can't find it on YouTube anymore, but the best version was, I think Germany in 1993 or 5 or something like that. That was one of the best songs. He rocked out so hard on that song. And I'm not like a super big Neil Young fan because he's kind of a dweeb. But at the same time, I have a lot of respect for the guy and I really like a lot of his music. And Like a Hurricane, if you can find the Live in Germany song, he's wearing a tie. And at one point, he's just rocking out on the solo. And one of my favorite solos. And his tie flips around and it gets stuck in the guitar. And he's just fighting through it. And he flips it over his shoulder and the wind blows it back. And he flips it over again. It was so badass. I just loved it. And that's the kind of stuff that you always remember. And yeah, it was really cool to see that, the guy just right in the heat of the moment, the passion, the energy, just kicking ass, choke slamming life through a flaming table. Yeah, That's what you got to do. That's what he did there, and that's my favorite version of that song. I know it's very specific, and anyways, yeah, like a hurricane. Great Neil Young song. Let's scroll up here for a second here. Stakeland 1 and 2, eh? Yeah, unfortunately, Duke. It's going to be sad they won't be able to do another one. And you know what? It worked out pretty good. It made like decent money. I mean, I believe it's the second best Dungeons and Dragons movie because I appreciate the Charybdis and information drop there. Anyways, my favorite D&D movie was the Book of Vile Darkness. I'm leaning over probably far too much there. But yeah, Book of Vile Darkness is probably my favorite. It's really hard to find too. It seems like everything I like has disappeared off the face of the earth. But Book of Vile Darkness, the third Dungeons and Dragons movie, was great because it had the paladin that had to join the quote unquote evil team to do good. And, you know, also violence, boobies, dragon, a warlock, a rogue that does rogue things. There's some traps. I mean, the poor dove just gets obliterated. That's not really a spoiler, but it is, I guess. But it was what? Oh, excuse me. One of my absolute favorite sword and sorcery fantasy type movies, for sure. I wasn't expecting that. I just seen it. It was on TV randomly one day, and tried to find a copy, going to like used video stores and junk, but apparently people like it, so that's a good sign. Hello, Blue Cruise. Wizardry on the Apple. You know what? Wizards are good, but I mean, if I had to pick a spellcasting class, definitely going with cleric. Cleric with a mace, or you know what? Male human paladin. Lawful good. And remember, lawful good doesn't mean lawful nice. Everybody's like, he's a paladin. He's supposed to be really nice. No, he isn't. Also, here's a question, Duke, if you're still listening. If you know who he is. Anyways, do you think Judge Dredd is a paladin? Because I think he is. But that's me. I don't know about you. I gotta write these letters in here, so give me 1 second, everybody. Now, a thing about these letters, I always put CIA, and then I try to do a band reference of some sort. And then most of the numbers are inconsequential to anything, except for the 242, because you have to represent front 242. One of the best electronic bands ever. They inspired so many dorks. Those guys are still like in their like late 60s now, and they're still out there kicking ass. And I'm not sure what I'd been doing for these last couple letters, but I just like to use those anyways. Yeah. Super Duke's right. He is a paladin. All my buddies are like, yeah, paladin. I asked Watson. He's like my leading nerd for D&D junk and everything. Watson, do you think Judge Dredd is a paladin? Yeah, without hesitation. Yep. Okay, hold on. I gotta get the fat pen out here to draw this. So, anyways, McMinnville UFOs. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna finish the grass first. Getting ahead of myself. Fuzz on there. Cat fuzz. Nothing we can do about it. We got three cats, and any of Blob's ghost hairs aren't going to be bothering me. So, Hawkwind currently touring. Look at this. I got this plethora of bands and stuff to listen to. I was going to go see Ministry and the Thrill Kill Cult, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I've seen Ministry, and although they were playing their stuff from, I believe it was Twitch and with Sympathy, which would have been cool to see live. Which I don't know how they paid Al Jorgensen to figure that out. All right, here we go now. Plethora. Yeah, I did it. Snuck it in there. Just like Blixley Broomhandle's Best Better Builders Business Bureau. Don't worry, Flubber Lane. It's almost done. I just got to add the details that make it look proper. And then you guys can go. Yes, Hillbilly Herb's taking everybody for ice cream after this. So, Hillbilly Herb, you better tie a wagon to the back of your truck there. You get definitely... Hillbilly Herb's a guy. His pickup truck is an old crusty thing with rusted out wheel wells. And he's got the... like, at the back of the truck where you'd normally put your canopy, he's just got like planks of wood crammed in there and hammered in and like chained to the side, and that's how he does. So nobody falls out, right? And so anyways, Hillbilly Herb's taking everybody for ice cream. Someone's got it. So basically, if we ever go to like the next Space Out Radio party, poor Hillbilly Herb's is going to be broke. Everyone's going to be like, I thought you were taking me for ice cream. Poor guy. But he's a hillbilly, so he's just going to go sell a bunch of Mountain Dew when he gets back home anyway. So I think that's what hillbillies do. I know some rednecks in Alberta that are basically like that. Alberta. Yeah, Alberta's the best place on the entire planet. This is not even up for discussion. So I'll just say that. Mostly because guys like me, Travis Moose Deuce live here, my cats. We get pretty nice weather. You get the northern lights once in a while. Sometimes you got to suffer with the atrocious winters, but you know what? Builds character, toughens your skin. Like right now, it'd be like playing Final Fantasy. They're going to cast Ice 3 on me. Ineffective damage. You know what? Barbarians of the frozen north of any RPG campaign, no chance. Aliens that live on frozen planets, no chance. Canadians just walk through that stuff. They're like, nah, sorry, things are coming out. We're cold already. There's like 2 countries in the world like that. It's like, everybody always jokes about it all the time. The Russians and Canadians are frozen to death half the year. How do they survive? It's like, well, you know what? We're just better. I mean, Skinny Puppy, Frontline Assembly, Me Drawn Cartoons, pretty good hockey teams, Spaced Out Radio. It's pretty good. Shag Harbor UFO crash, Falcon Lake incident. We got the Headless Valley. Where else to get the Headless Valley? Like nobody else has the Headless Valley. The Nahani Valley. Nobody's got that. Nobody even goes up there and investigates it. Everybody should be up there right now with their drones and their nerds, but what are they doing? They're walking around like Montana with a ghost box looking for an albino Sasquatch or something. You got to go to Northwest Territories, go to the Nahani Valley, make your way up there, because that's where, back in the old gold rush days, Reader's Digest version, people went up there for gold, they found it, they sent their buddies back, their friends came back, their heads were pulled off their bodies. Pulled, not cut, not chopped, pulled off the bodies. That's why they call it the Headless Valley. There's actually, you could plug it into YouTube. There's an old video. It's like Ethel Bordenine and Clarence Stevens or something. Super old people, like old people names, like from like the 50s and 60s. Before we started naming kids after video games and junk. But they went up there and they found a lot of evidence of strange things. And they say that the natives around, this is a little bit of the story as well. A lot of the like natives, indigenous people around there, when the traders came up there, like, don't go into these mountains because there's these white giants. They're pale white. They come down, they raid our villages. You can't stop them. And of course, all these greedy bastards are like, oh, I gotta go up there and find gold, right? I got a pointy stick. What are you gonna do? Well, guess what? They didn't do that again, did they? So anyways, it's a really interesting place. Yeah, it's the Nahani Valley. I couldn't even attempt to spell it. anyways, I'm pretty sure one of the nerds in the group will figure it out. But you just type in Headless Valley, Northwest Territories, and you can begin your Headless Valley excursion of weirdness from that. I've been trying to find somebody that could talk about that on the show for a million years. If you know any like some kind of expert or something, I've gotten in touch with a lot of people, and most of them are like, I just replay stories that I was told, and I don't know. I would love to have someone come on and talk about that. I think it would be really good for the show because I mean, Headless Valley, things like that. Anyways, we're almost done here, folks. Rambling away, Headless Valleys and pizza and art stuff. Jennifer got me off on a little ramble there. Let me just have a quick look here. Hammerson Peters, yes. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to do any interviews, Duke. Unless somehow you can twist his arm or put a good word in for me. But I did email him a long time ago when I first started trying to like book things. I'm still just as convincing as I am now. It's like, come on the show. Nope. Come on, I'll be your friend. Nope. Please. Nope. So I just got a couple little more things on here and I'll be done with this. Yeah, Hammerson Peters is a pretty cool guy. If he wants some interesting stuff, check out his work. I don't mind slanging people's stuff because, you know, it's important that everybody looks. Ooh. Alrighty. Almost done here. And I think it's time. I think it's time to go and put this guy in here. Oh, wait a second. I gotta sign up first. You got a couple more. You got about a minute and some odd here with me. You know what, Duke? I'll have to talk to my page master here. And I think we might be able to get you a plushie Sasquatch. Maybe. I'll see how much art I can sell at the art walk, and I'll send you like a little stuffed plushie guy of a Sasquatch Friday. Anyways, here. Let's sign this guy. Make it official. This is the only drawing of this ever again. Oh, by the way, if you look at any of Fox Vegas, her plushies, the sideshow Zombunnies, all those original. There's never going to be a second one made. She doesn't make doubles of anything. Much like me with my artwork. Yeah, let's see here. McMinnville, Oregon. We'll just call it the McMinnville UFO. That'll be easiest. I have to think about the name because when I plug it into my computer, I have to write down the name to match the drawing. And it's speaking of animation school teachers, the one guy, Farhad, he was an absolute dickhead. But the only thing that hello, Mr. Gremlin. The only thing that was important that I remember about him, naming conventions. So he drilled that into us pretty good. So, but he was still a dickhead. Miles Harrington was the best guy. So, just about June, hey? Holy, what are we gonna do in June? It's gonna be hot. I'll be sweating even more up here. Oh, and let's not forget. Beautiful. Look at that. Stamp. Okay. Oh, I might have to have another shower. It's not my birthday, but let's have a quick gander here. Sorry if I didn't get to anybody's questions or comments or anything like that, but I'll make sure next Saturday it will go off without a hitch because third time's a charm, right? Or it's either that or I could do a hat trick of leaving the extra thing open there and, extra feedback for you. Sorry, Dave. I don't know if he's going to edit it. I would just leave it as organic as possible. I'm going to make a point to tell Dave that. I'll be like, Dave, just leave it weird and awkward and everything because why not? So here it is, the McMinnville, Oregon UFO from 1950. Actually, hold on. I can scoot this down a little bit more. Just padding the meter here. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to go scrub myself down a little bit because I'm sweating gross here because it's really hot. And then I'm going to have some super hot death wings. And I'd like to say I appreciate everybody that came here today. You're here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the entire time. I really appreciate you spending an hour and some odd with me. It's kind of an honor, and it's kind of neat to think that people like to see this stuff. And this is what I do all the time anyway. So I hope everybody, I'll be appreciated because I appreciate you. And blah 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 blah. And filthy. Love you guys, and have yourself a great rest of your Saturday. And I'm going to go with some super hot death wings and melt my face because the guy at the pub makes special hot wings for me. I think he just feels bad for me at this point in time. So don't forget, Spaced Out Radio. You can check out Dave Scott Monday to Friday, Rob G on the weekends, Element 115 Fridays, Grantavius Max with his, I can't remember if he's put his power stash on this week or not. He just takes it on and off as he goes. And then me on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see you guys next Saturday and probably Monday and whatnot and so forth. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Good night. Good evening.